We've all used the classic Venn diagram to show an overlap between two seemingly unrelated things, but usually we're comparing something that is known. But what if you're trying to compare abstract art and trying to get people to guess words you have on a word card? Could you draw comparisons between strange objects and make the diagram a useful tool? Well, that's your job in Venn, which was designed by the app who sponsors this video. Hey everyone, I'm Mike Murphy. I'm here with BoardGameGeek. Well, I've got some art cards here and I've got some words for you to guess. But before we start guessing, let's teach you how to play Venn. Venn can be played in a competitive team mode or cooperatively. In Venn, players will take turns being a clue giver or a guesser. The clue giver will try to get their team to guess the three words they were given by playing abstract art cards to various zones of overlapping circles that create a Venn diagram. If a card is on the outermost zone, it will pertain to exactly one clue word, but the clue giver can place cards in zones that overlap to show that this card pertains to two or even all three clue words. Now, before we play cards and start guessing, let's go over the setup for the competitive mode of Venn. To set up Venn, players must first divide into two teams. Then begin by placing the scoring track in the center of the table and place the two team scoring tokens nearby. Next, each team will receive two Venn circles and arrange them as shown so 7 distinct zones are created. There will be 3 outer zones, 3 zones that overlap exactly 2 of the circles, and a middle zone which is a mix of all 3 circles. Once each team has their Venn circles built, each team receives roughly 1/3 of the art card deck. The remaining third of the cards remains in the center of the table near the scoring track. It is now time for each team to select a clue giver for the round. These players each draw a number card showing 3 numbers and they add it to their number card holder. It is important to keep this card secret from all other players. Next, 4 word cards are drawn and placed to the right side of the scoring track so each word is next to a number. Now the clue giver can see which words pertain to their number card. It will be their job to play art cards so the team can guess the 3 words they've been given using only the art cards they have. Once each clue giver has had a moment to review their clues, players count 1, 2, 3, and then clue givers can play cards to the different zones of their Venn circles. And that is how you set up Venn. Now it's important to note that the clue giver cannot speak during a round. They can only play cards to the various zones of their Venn circle as a way of communicating. For example, if one of your words is red, you want to make sure that the card you play in the outer zone of the circle is very red. But you might be able to use an inner zone to reinforce that one word is red while also pointing to one of your other clue words. Once the round has begun, the clue giver can play cards from their stack of art cards in any zone they like. They can even cover up previously played art cards, but it's important to remember that exactly one card may be showing in each of the 7 zones at a time. If you cover up a previously placed clue, you must cover it up completely and placed art cards can never be moved. It isn't often you have a clue that will pertain exactly to an art card you play, so instead you must play cards that give hints as to your 3 words. Using the inner zones that have 2 circles overlap show that the art card you place pertains to 2 of your clues, and if you have an art card that relates to all 3 of your clues, you can play it in the center zone. If the clue giver feels like their cards aren't useful, they can swap out their stack of cards with the stack in the middle of the table. Either clue giver can do this at any time. The job of the guessers is to find the connection of the art cards to the words in the center of the table. At any point, players can look at all 12 words in the center of the table to try to find connections. Guessers can also talk freely about what they think the clue words are. If the guessers think they have the answers, they can shout Venn at any time and both clue givers must immediately stop playing cards. The guessers who shouted Venn then get to guess what the 3 clue words are. They do not have to indicate which area of the circle they think pertains to which clues. For each correct guess the guessers make, their team scores 1 point. If the guessers manage to guess all 3 words correctly, they get a bonus 4th point. That team then moves their scoring marker down the track for each correct guess they made. Once this team finishes guessing, the opposing team gets to guess which words they think their clue giver had, and they too receive 1 point per correct guess. However, they get no bonus point for getting all 3 words correct. This ends the round, and players will now choose a new clue giver who receives a new number card, and new word cards are drawn out. Any previously played art cards are removed from the Venn circles, cards are shuffled, and once again each clue giver receives about 1/3 of the cards, with the final third being placed near the score track. It is now time to begin another round, and players will continue to give clues and make guesses until one team reaches or exceeds 12 points, making them the winner. If there's a tie, the team that scored the most points in the final round is the winner. And that is how you play the competitive version of Venn. If you want a longer experience, you can always play the best out of 3 set of games, and if you want to up the difficulty level, you can play the expert variant where the first card you play each round must be in one of the inner zones or center zone. But if you have less than 4 players or simply fancy working together, you can also play Venn cooperatively where it's a race against the clock to get clues out and make your guesses. To play Venn cooperatively, you'll only need one set of overlapping circles, one scoring marker, and exactly 5 number cards. This will represent the number of rounds you have to get to 12 points or the team loses the game. Each round, one player will still serve as a clue giver, with the other players working to guess the clues the clue giver has. However, you now have to watch the clock because you only have 2 minutes to give clues. You will need a device that has a stopwatch or a timer, and you will set this to 2 minutes. Once the clue giver is ready, the timer starts and they begin playing clues as usual. However, guessers cannot stop the clock and guess until at least 3 art cards have been played. Guessers can discuss what they think the clues are, and when they are ready, they shout out Venn to stop the clock, or if the clock runs out, the clue giver must stop playing cards and guesses must be made. Each clue word correctly guessed awards the team 1 point. However, in the cooperative mode, there is no bonus point for getting all 3 words. Be sure to score 1 point for each correct guess. After the first round, a new clue giver is selected and they take the second number card and a new round begins. Players have just 5 rounds to reach 12 points, and they win if they manage this feat, but if there are no more number cards to draw and players have not reached 12 points, they lose. And that is how you play Venn. Whether you're playing in competitive team mode or cooperatively, the clue giver and guessers are challenged to think outside the box and find connections and commonalities between abstract images to get to the correct clue. And if you'd like to learn more about Venn, be sure to check out its page at BoardGameGeek. And until next time, I'm Mike Murphy. I've been here with BoardGameGeek, and that is how you play Venn. Have a great day.